The next thing I did with the cell is I went through and tried to do a close study on the
Don't let me stop you.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So basically what I did was my cell, when I first got it going, I had conditioned it a bit. I varied the electrical or the voltage input that I put on the cell and compared that over the range with efficiency and also with the amount of gas production. So basically from, between 12.5 volts, so that would be a little under 2 volts per cell up to 2 volts per cell, you get a fairly consistently high MMW rating. And then after, a little over 2 volts per cell, it starts to drop off. And there's some of the points are there's a little outliers there, and I believe that I did more statistical procedures where you do 3 tests on each one. Should get a better curve.
What are the 2 lines?
The blue line is the output flow rate, and then the red line is the efficiency. The next thing, after I had the cell built, I earlier, last summer, I put basically a SMAX design under the seat in this thing, and did some tests with that, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically, so I knew that the scooter would, it would do something with the hydrogen. I mean, just with the little booster unit and the battery under the seat, it would raise the RPM significantly when you turn the cell on. And so I said, well, one day it was just, well, I wonder what happens if I take this cell over to the lab and see what happens. And so I basically put the tube in the intake, and I wasn't really expecting much. I clamped off the fuel line and ran it out of gas, and I tried it, and she fired up, and that was a pretty exciting day. So, and then the videos are all on YouTube. They've gotten quite a few hits.
So that was run with no gas?
No gasoline. I ran it out of gasoline, and if you go to my YouTube page, I'll show that at the end.
You didn't change the timing?
No, didn't do anything really.
So saving up
We've seen Scarecrow here. He's
how many cc's is it?
50 cc.
50 cc's?
Yeah.
Did you have saving up power?
3 liters a minute, 3.5 liters a minute.
Well, I have that curve, that output curve, and I was able to run the thing at about 13.5 was the lowest voltage. So that came out to be about 18 amps. So it took me, if you kind of drop down,
4.5 liters.
if you drop down on that curve,
no, half that.
if you drop down on that curve here, so at 13.5 volts, you go up, it's around 1.5 liters per minute, is what it took to idle the thing.
Well, you got to figure, if you look at his efficiency there, he's making about 1 liter a minute for every 10 amps approximately.
How'd you induce the, how'd you put it in? Just stick it down the
Yeah,
battery?
so basically, I have the intake, so the carburetor's here, and then the intake comes off, and there's the runner that comes out. I should the intake comes out, and then there's this little weird boot thing that comes off the side, and I just put a hole in the boot and put the gas
Right
tube
the air
in.
flow.
Yeah, and then the other thing, it would work, it would run like that. But then what I also did was I put a cork with a little bar fitting in there and put a smaller intake tube.
Okay.
So it kind of helped me monitor or control the air fuel ratio a little bit more.
2-stroke.
4-stroke. Yeah. And it's a 2002. It has a computer. I believe it has a timing curve, and I'm not sure exactly all the different things it has, but it's, you know, it's not just, it has a little bit of smarts to it, I guess.
Could you start it from a cold start with hydroxy?
Yeah, I didn't have, I just turned the cell on and it'd fire up. It actually, it seemed, when I first did the test, it seemed to work better. You know, over the period of time, it seemed to, I don't know if I was getting water in there or something. And then,
Probably like me, it probably blew up your bubble or you had a leak.
well, then I drill a hole in the top of it, put a little rubber stopper, and I shot that out a few times.
Well, you will do that.
That's-
Boom.
The first boom was
We've all
pretty
been there.
scary.
Jake, got a question.
Yeah,
The scooter, is that a four-stroke or a two-stroke?
four stroke.
Have you tried anything with the hydrogen in a two-stroke engine?
No, not yet. This is actually, my wife got this scooter for graduation. So,
Now the truth comes out.
I said, well.
Are you still married?
Yep. She was a little,
Honey, about the car.
she didn't feel too happy when it looked like this, but.
Now, Jake, on your scooter, this one doesn't have a bowl, correct?
It does,
It does have a bowl.
yeah.
One thing that I noticed from previous experience is never connect the hydraulic, like anybody, the hydraulic line directly to the fuel supply to the bowl.
We tried that.
Bang!
Clean off.
We didn't, luckily, we didn't have that happen.
Yeah,
then.
no,
But we tried
From
it.
the opposite direction, ring gone somewhere else.
Put in the air,
In
put
the
in the
air
airstream.
flow.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, preferably beyond the carburetor, you know, in the adapter plate.
I actually tried pulling the carburetor all the way off and just putting it right in there, and I couldn't get it really to start. It needed to have the
You have to
carburetor.
have control, you have to have control of the airflow.
I
Right.
have found that the darn butterfly valve on the carburetor is very handy. It's handy to use the carburetor. I
Right.
can't, I'm not talented enough to be able to fabricate something that does that job. I think if I could get some kind of a butterfly thing, I'm sure I could do it out of the carburetor, but
Right.
I got the carburetor, it works.
Will you have to choke it off at all?
It has automatic choke. So the only choking that I really did was I put this rubber stopper into the intake, and then I had a barb fitting with a smaller tube. And if you look at the videos, I did some experiments where I would clamp off the tube, and that worked pretty well to hold 1 RPM. You could get it to run better, but if you were going to try to, rev it or anything like that, it would not allow enough air to go in there. But this configuration here with these sizes of tubes, I actually got the thing to rev up. I have the intention was to show the videos. I don't know if it's going to work.
I don't even show a video for this PowerPoint.
Well, I tried it earlier and it worked on here. Let me try to open up a different file here. I think it's probably because I don't have those on this computer.